So beautiful. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Great Day Houston. November is National Native American Heritage Month. For many decades, the Native American story was relegated to Hollywood westerns that often portrayed them as the bad guys. Our first guest wants us to know the contributions and the correct story of America's first communities. Chance Landry, Jesus Medel, and Steve Melendez are all with organizations that are part of the Native American Alliance of Greater Houston. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. It's nice to see this story unfold in this way, especially in Houston. We know sometimes we'll see it in the true Southwest, like Arizona and New Mexico. All right, Chance, you were a caricature artist, and you wore Native American jewelry as you have on today, and people would always comment on it. But when you would say where it was made and how authentic it was, you were surprised that people would say, "Oh, really? There's really Native Americans still around?"
Exactly. I mean, they would tell me, and it was ridiculous because I was just like going, "What? I can't understand why you're even asking me these questions." But they would say to me things like, we thought you were a myth, or we thought you didn't exist anymore, or you're so mixed that you don't even exist anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy. So it sets you on a mission to say, well, wait a minute, let me start to educate people. What was it that connected you so much to Native American history and Native American in the present?
Well, just being Kunitsa, the Tucson Inde, Natehe, big water people, Lipan Apache. And I'm thinking, I know there's a lot of Native American Indians in the community that I live in Houston. So I thought to myself, I need to create a museum and educate the general public.
And you started the Southern Apache Museum to educate people. And then something happened organically that you weren't quite expecting, but you look back at it, no surprise. Native Americans came in the museum, a lot of times by accident, others word of mouth, and it became a place of community, if you will.
Yes.
And so you had potlucks, town hall meetings, you talk about healthcare, just conversations that connected you. And it evolved, and then it was forced to close. That was going to be a blessing in disguise, though. Tell us what's about to happen.
Well, the thing is that I went in front of City Council right after Southern Apache Museum closed down, because it became one of 3 proposed sites for the bullet train that's going to go from Houston to Dallas. And I went in front of City Council and asked them for a building, and if they couldn't help me find a building, to direct me somewhere where I could find, or somebody that could help me.
Yeah.
And because of COVID at the time, they couldn't do anything, but they did give me, or funded me money, Southern Apache Museum, so that I could create this museum that I had planned in 2012.
Right.
And so
it's gonna happen, right?
Yes,
okay.
It's gonna
and
happen.
It'll be home to the Southern Apache Museum, but also the library, a clinic, the Aztec Mayan Pyramid, Indigenous Garden Market, restaurants, powwow arena, the TP area for artisans. There's gonna be so much there in a community that kind of faded away, was in the background, is going to come to the forefront. You'll also house the American Indian Genocide Museum and the Museo Guadalupe Aztlan. And Jesus, tell us about Museo Guadalupe Aztlan.
Sure. We started in 1994, and the idea originated with my paternal grandfather, who's pictured here, Feliciano Torres Medel. He was a shoemaker. He made candy and he made beer. So when I learned about the folk arts through the oral history that my parents shared with me, I said to myself, I want to continue that cultural heritage.
Yeah, this is the grandfather you said
Yes.
he made candy and he made beer. That's a great grandfather to have, right? And shoes. I wish I had a grandfather like that. But no, so and so you heard the stories that again had kind of faded away. You brought them back to the forefront, and you share other Chicano stories as well.
For sure, yes. So during the times that I was at the University of Houston, the Chicano movement was in full swing.
Yeah.
That also inspired me to take a stronger strident to formalize this museum. So that's what we did in 1994.
And it's so interesting because this museum is for everyone, but I would imagine also for a lot of Hispanics or people with Native American background as well. When I first moved, I moved from Taipei, Taiwan to San Antonio. I was there during the time when my Hispanic friends were told, do not speak Spanish. You only speak English. We are back in touch, I think, for every community, it's okay. We're in America. That's what we call this melting pot or tossed salad. We need to be proud of each part and each contribution that we have and not try to bury that. So that's what this museum is great for, is bringing that to the forefront as well. All right, the American Indian Genocide Museum, Steve, shares some hard truths. As I mentioned in the intro, oftentimes we see in movies that the Native Americans were the bad guys. There are enough bad guys to go around.
Right. My name is Steve Melendez, and I'm a Paiute. That's my tribe from out in Nevada. I grew up on a Pyramid Lake Reservation, and like you say, there's been some hard truths that need to be told so that we can learn from history. Because if we don't learn from history, we're condemned to repeat history. Like on my reservation, way back in the 1860s, when the cavalry came through, they just wiped out our complete, our village. They tried to kill everybody in the village, for basically no reason, and they burned the village, and they threw the babies tied up in their baskets, their cradle boards, into the fire to watch them burn alive. And that's a hard truth, but it was documented by Sarah Winnemucca because she lost her baby brother there, and her sister, her younger sister, jumped on her father's best horse and escaped. And it's incidents like that our museum is trying to document. We use actual documentation to tell our story that though we are living in peace and harmony today, we have to always be cognizant that intolerance is always at the door.
We see it today. I mean, at any given time, a certain group can become, the ire of somebody else, and so these stories remind us of how ridiculous that is, right? Yeah. And that what human beings are capable of if we don't keep each other in line. All right. When we talk about the museums, there are several things that you have, and the authenticity is the key piece. The jewelry you have on, the bolo that you have on, the shirt that you have on. All these things are authentic. We see so many things that are copies of. You would love for people to get the authentic things and understand the story behind it. You brought a number of items. Tell us what this is right here, Chance.
This painting is the first encounter with Francisco Pizarro, who met the Incas, and he saw, because they came in 3 ships, and he thought that when he saw the Inca ship that it was one of his ships because it was just as big as his ship.
Yeah.
So we had huge giant ships. They had all kinds. They even had an area there where they would cook, and they were cooking and doing all kinds of things.
It was home on the sea.
Yes, but they used this ship basically to go along the Pacific coast and trade all the way down to Mexico.
Yeah, so these are
From
some of the
Peru
things
to
that we can get in, like when we're in the museum, and that we can get
Yes.
conversations along with them. All right, and what did you bring? The piece that you brought was the picture that right there. The one that is your picture is the one that you brought right here.
Yeah. I brought the molcajete.
Yeah. We all know what that is. Yeah. Right. Okay. That is a good thing right there, and so that is so much a part of the culture as well.
Sure. It's a Nahuatl word, molcajete, and it was used mostly for making salsa, grinding chiles and tomatoes.
And it's still used, my friend.
Still used,
yeah,
yes.
right. And Steve?
But if the public wants to see a giant one that's 5 feet tall, 8 feet wide, there's one at the Leonel Castillo Community Center here in Houston. Okay,
and Steve?
And I brought a 158-year-old book. It's called The Report on the Conduct of the War. It's about the congressional inquiry into the Sand Creek Massacre. And in that report, it has the proclamation of John Evans, where he basically laid out what amounts to the final solution for the Indians. He just said, called on the people of Colorado to just go out and everyone found off the reservation. That's quote off the reservation, kill them. And
Well, we're at the Native American Alliance of Greater Houston now, so we're coming together in that alliance organization, all kinds of things. Also, Alaskan Natives. I want to talk to one of those Alaskan Natives in the height of summer and see how much they love Houston. But they get health care, elderly care, veterans care, and housing support as well. All right. The other thing that we have access to when we come to your events are the dancers and the performances. Tell us about the dance that we're about to see.
The dances that you're about to see are Aztec dances. They're traditional dances. And what you need to know also is that whenever anyone dances, they go through a process of putting on their regalia in prayer. They bless the drum. Everything is blessed. It's like when you drop stone in water and you see the ripples. That's exactly what's going to happen when you hear the drum and see the stomping of their feet on the ground. Everyone here, it's good medicine and everybody will be blessed.
All right, let's see the performance. Every step with purpose. All right, the Indigenous People Center is a 501(c) nonprofit organization. The new space will be a monumental project that will require extensive support. They're seeking volunteers, both Native and non-Native. To get involved, visit indigenouspeoplecenter.com.